So the second big park on our East Coast road trip was Carowinds, and this park had many amazing and many terrible rides, so let's just get into the ranking. In last place we have Kittyhawk. This is the worst roller coaster I have ridden overall. It is terrible. It's like an SLC, but no forces, and the pads that are next to your ears are gone, so you're banging your ears against hard foam instead. Next up we have Wilderness Run. This is just your average E&F miler kiddie coaster. It's just a kiddie coaster. There's not much to talk about besides the last run of Airtime Hills, which actually throws you around a bunch. And the worst throw coaster on our list is Carolina Cyclone. This ride it's almost the same layout as Canyon Blaster at Adventure Dome, which I rank much higher. So you might be thinking, why is this ride ranked so low? Well, this ride actually, as in the wheels on the track, it runs really smooth, honestly. For its age, it's running really well. But the problem lies within the trains. The seats on this ride are absolutely horrendous. My tailbone hurt after my first ride, and I vowed never to go on it again because of that. There was absolutely no padding whatsoever. Okay, next up is Vortex. Usually, I like stand-up coasters. Keyword is usually. This ride wasn't bad. Actually, it was kind of bad, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world, and everyone over-exaggerates it, even though it's not the best ride. There are no outstanding moments on this ride at any point, and I think it's just a one and done. Get the credit and get it over with. And next up, we have the family coaster Aero Mine Train Carolina Gold Rusher. Although this is one of the shorter Aero Mine Trains, it definitely packs more of a punch than the others that I've ridden. I would say this one ranks above Carolina Cyclone and Vortex, probably because the jankiness is less painful and more just classic feeling. And the seats are actually comfortable for once, and I really like that. The forces pulled on this turn, and also the forces later on in the ride, make this ride what it is, and it's really fun and definitely underrated. Next up, we have an even more underrated family coaster, Woodstock Express. From the one I've ridden here at Carowinds and the one at King's Dominion, these rides are really smooth, and though they're small, they're all really fun. Most of the turns provide some pretty decent laterals, and when you're in the back, you get some really good airtime off the first drop and definitely the second drop. And with the buzz bars, it's really fun and really cute. And now back to the throw coasters, we have Hurler. This ride is very interesting, and I think it's underrated. I really like Hurler somehow. Everyone says it's really rough and stuff, but I think that it's the perfect amount of roughness for a wooden coaster and that it gives a really good bite. And not to mention, all the airtime hills on this ride give pretty good flow to airtime, at least from what I've experienced in the back. Yeah, most of the turns are pretty boring, but once you look past that, you have a pretty decent wooden coaster with some really good airtime. And next up after Hurler, we have Flying Cobras, the Vekoma boomerang in this park. I think all boomerangs are underrated, and this is better than the others because it has the vest restraints. All the inversions are pretty forceful, and the ride isn't that rough. And if I'm being completely honest, it was pretty smooth. And going backwards is the best part. Going backwards through inversions, vertical loops, and whatever we're going through right now is really fun. Now coming up to the number 5 spot, we have Nighthawk. I absolutely love this ride. Honestly, I have no complaints. The ride isn't janky like everyone says. The restraints are really freeing. All the elements when you turn onto your back and stuff like that are really disorienting. And from my one ride on it, which doesn't seem too promising, and I wish I got more, it was really fun. And now we're entering the famous top floor of Carowinds Afterburn. This ride was very intense. First drop doesn't really do anything for me, but everything after that is absolutely insane. The vertical loop is crazy intense. Although the Immelman was pretty good, it wasn't that whippy and it wasn't that intense, but it was just making way for the insane 0G roll. After you whip through the 0G roll, it does not spare you any time and goes into the absolutely insane Batwing. You probably hit the most intense moment in the ride at this part, and then it kind of gives you a break and goes through a very drawn out airtime hill into such a snappy corkscrew that it's almost uncomfortable by the amount of head banging that I get. This ride is absolutely insane, and I wish I got more than 2 rides on it. Next up, we have Copperhead Strike. This ride is kind of the exact opposite of Afterburn for me. Instead of crushing positive, this ride gives insane airtime and hang time. This is my first really good mock rides thrill coaster, and I am very impressed. Every switchback is super whippy, every single hill gives really good floater to ejector airtime, and most of the versions are either super snappy, give really good hang time, or are really floaty. I'd say that the one downside with this ride is that the launches are really weak. But the thing is, as you're going throughout the ride, you kind of forget that the launch, it kind of existed. But I think that's just a testament to how weak the launch is and that it should be stronger. And the second best ride in the park is Intimidator or Thunderstriker or whatever it's called now. B&M Hypers are one of my favorite ride models in the world. They are so fun. And everyone always trashes on Intimidator for some reason. Like, everyone like, oh my gosh, Intimidator and stuff like that. And I'm still calling it Intimidator, by the way. Thunderstriker's kind of lame. But when I rode this ride, it gave really good airtime on every single hill, honestly. And I think it was so good that it ranks above Nitro in my rankings. I don't know what was happening. Maybe the trims didn't hit or something, but I felt the trims, so I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Even the section after the mid-course is honestly not bad, and it gives some pretty good airtime on the drops. And here we are at number 1, and I wonder what it could be. Of course, it's Fury 325. How can it not be Fury 325? This ride is absolutely amazing from start to end. The first drop is one of the most sustained airtime moments I've been on. Every single twist and snap gives some really good flow-jector airtime. And even the moments when you're not getting forces, it's still really fun because of how fast you're going. Speed is a very underrated force in my opinion. And not to mention that every drop, you get really good sustained floater to ejector airtime, and every hill is absolutely the same. I don't think there was anything they could have done to improve the ride, and I absolutely want to get back to this park and lap this thing again. And that is my ranking of every single roller coaster at Carowinds, except for Ricochet, because I did not ride that, but whatever. This park, Carowinds, is one of my favorite parks I've been to, honestly. And with all these rides that I want to get back on, I don't think it's going to be a while until I get back to this park. But until then, I'll see y'all next time.